Welcome to another edition of Bet with Bobano, Wednesday, July 10th. Ian Cameron, Connor Mackin, momentarily here as well. We're set for a big Wednesday MLB slate, which will be the focus for this show. Once again, we are going to, I believe, next 2 days do some pre-recorded shows. So we're actually still going to have a show, but they're going to be not live. They're going to be pre-recorded, and we will still post them on the channel. So we still will have some shows for Bet with Bobano the next 2 days. Want to remind everybody, too, that Dub Club, we talked about this on Monday's show. We'll mention it again. Sign up now. It's been an incredible run in MLB the last few days. I mean, a very up and down season I've had with baseball so far, which has admittedly for years been not my strongest sport. But lately it has been good. It's been a very strong month of July so far in Major League Baseball. Unfortunately, the All-Star break is coming at kind of a shitty time because, the results have been great, very strong. $1,000 profit, 1 unit of profit last night with the MLB card. A lot of winners and a nice run in MLB here in the month of July. And more importantly, football right around the corner. NFL and college football. Of course, CFL already underway, but NFL and college football. And with that, those two both about a month and a half away. Now's a great time to sign up for 6 months, all sports. It's right now available, discounted from $400 down to $250 US for 6 months. It's going to take you all the way into January 2025. So you'll get the entire college football season. You'll get the entire NFL regular season. If you wait to sign up until August, you'll probably get you will, because the 6 months will take into February. You'll get the entire NFL playoffs and regular season, as well as the college football season. So again, 6 months discount to get us ready for football. 22.2 units of profit, which is over 22,000 based on if you equate it to the dollar amount in both of them combined last year, NFL and college football. So excited about that. You'll also get my NFL and college football season win totals and futures betting report. That will be sent out and posted at Dub Club Thursday, August the 1st. So only a few weeks from now, you'll get that as part of the subscription. So make sure you take advantage of that. 6 months, all sports discount down to $250 US. The link for that discount is on my Twitter X page and Twitter X profile at Bobano Bets. So make sure you check that out and take advantage of it. All right, let's get into MLB for this upcoming season. For this upcoming talking about the football season, the MLB card for tonight, for this Wednesday slate. Let's get into it. We will begin with a 6:40 Eastern first pitch. Actually, you know what? We do have a game at 5:10 Eastern. It is a game that was postponed last night due to weather. The Twins and the White Sox. We've got Pablo Lopez and Drew Thorpe, the pitching matchup here. We've got the Minnesota Twins, about a -1. About -200 actually, road favorite here in this game. 8.5 being the total here in this one. I have nothing on this game. These are tricky games when you're talking about a rain out the night before, but all I'll say is Pablo Lopez, definitely the better pitcher coming into this matchup. Minnesota has owned the White Sox. They've won 9 straight head-to-head meetings between the two teams. Pablo Lopez is coming off probably one of his worst starts against Houston, but probably a good bounce-back spot for him here. Drew Thorpe will get the start for the White Sox. That bullpen behind him is just absolutely atrocious. Pablo Lopez should have the better of it. His home numbers haven't been good, so that would concern me a bit. 5.74 ERA. We'll see how this one plays out. Just didn't want to lay that kind of a price with Minnesota, -210, but not on Chicago here either in this game. So pass for me on that one. Chicago Cubs and Baltimore Orioles next up. Shota Imanaga here for the Cubs, taking on Corbin Burns for Baltimore. We see Baltimore -180, home favorites, 8.5, 9 the total, depending on where you look. Shota Imanaga for the Cubs, the lefty who started out the season extremely good, extremely strong. Kind of come back to the pack a little bit. He got absolutely crushed by the Mets. His last 2 starts were all right, but still gave up 3 runs or 6 runs in 12 innings and 11 hits in 12 innings in those starts. So, he has been giving up, a little bit more hard hit contact of late. Corbin Burns, meanwhile, for Baltimore, been pretty consistent, 2 runs or less allowed in 4 of his last 5 starts. He's got a phenomenal 1.78 ERA this season here at Camden Yards. So he's pitched very well here in Baltimore. Maybe a team total over on Baltimore, 4.5. I could maybe look in that direction in this one. We'll see how this one fares. It was a very high-scoring game, an easy over winner for me last night with the two teams. I don't know if the Cubs are going to be doing a shit ton of damage, though, against Corbin Burns and his great track record at home this season. Plus, he's actually got an equally strong track record against the Chicago Cubs. Just a grand total of 5 runs allowed in 19 innings pitched against the Cubs in his last 3 starts. And remember, very familiar with them going back to his Milwaukee days when he faced them in the same division. So probably an Orioles team total over. Maybe you could go Baltimore -1. Full game run line. I would lean with those two looks there when it comes to the Cubs and the Orioles. All right, next game on the slate, it is the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Detroit Tigers. Tanner Bybee and Reese Olson, the matchup in this one. We've got Cleveland -140 road favorites, 7.5 the total in this game. We go from 1-0 in the opener of this series, Detroit getting the win on Monday, and then last night it was a slugfest with these two teams. Cleveland on the winning side of a 9-8 victory over the Detroit Tigers. Probably we get things cooling down and probably reverting back to more of a pitching matchup tonight. Bybee wasn't at his best in his last start against the San Francisco Giants. He gave up 4 runs, 6 hits, and 4.2 innings. But his numbers on the road are quite good, 2.7 ERA for Bybee coming into this start. So I think he's going to bounce back, pitch pretty well. And don't forget, he gave up 2 runs or less in 3 consecutive starts before that last outing against San Francisco. We'll see how he fares here in this game against Detroit. Meanwhile, Reese Olson, I like him quite a bit. He's definitely someone I've backed several times this year. He's given up 2 runs or less in 4 straight starts. I cashed a ticket with the Tigers and Reese Olson when he pitched in his last start against Cincinnati. Tigers getting a nice 5-4 victory in that game. We'll see how this one plays out, but I actually think Detroit's got a little value here. You look at the way they played Cleveland in this series, even though we know Cleveland's a better team. Detroit won the first game. They took Cleveland extra innings last night. So it's been a very close competitive series. And, you give a quality arm like Reese Olson, a +130 price, +125 in that range. I'm always going to be interested. And look, I like Bybee a lot too. And Cleveland's certainly still the better of these two teams. But I don't think it's the worst idea in the world maybe to give Detroit a look here with Olson, at least in the first 5. Because you still are a little bit concerned at times with the Tigers bullpen. But yeah, I would lean to Detroit. I do think there's a little value with them here tonight in this divisional matchup. All right, next game on the slate. It's the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres. Bryce Miller, Michael King, the pitching matchup. We've got San Diego -145, home favorites, 7.5 the total here in this game. I know we've been talking about this particular element with Bryce Miller, and it's the fact he's got one of the bigger home road splits in all of starting pitching in baseball right now this season. 2.1 ERA at T-Mobile Park in Seattle and is at home, but a 6.28 ERA for him on the road. Big jump in terms of his ERA when he goes to pitch outside of Seattle, and obviously that is where he's pitching tonight. Here in this game, you got Michael King for the San Diego Padres, who's actually had 2 really good starts in a row, both of them on the road against the Rangers and the Red Sox. 2 runs allowed in his last 11.1 innings of work. But the home numbers have actually, oddly enough, been worse for Michael King. He enters this start 4.64 ERA here at Petco this year, compared to a 2.74 ERA for him on the road. So it's kind of weird where he's got a little bit of a reverse home road thing going on, where he's been worse at home than on the road, Michael King. And yet Bryce Miller for Seattle, he's been worse on the road than he's been at home. So you got Miller pitching on the road where he's been worse. You've got King pitching at home for San Diego where he's been worse than he's been on the road. So maybe 7.5 is a little short with the total. Maybe you can make an argument for the over here. I certainly lean that way when it comes to Seattle and San Diego, simply because you got Bryce Miller, who struggled on the road, and Michael King, who struggled at home. And that's exactly what you got here in this matchup with the Padres hosting the Mariners. CMAC is in the house now with us. Connor, what do you think here of the Cubs and Orioles, Guardians, Tigers, Mariners, Padres? These are the first 3 we talked about. What do you like?
Yeah, I don't have a ton in these games. I thought it was a little light. I know it was a bunch of runs, 9-8 yesterday. I think Bybee could pitch well, but I have nothing in that one. You know what? We said it yesterday in this Padre game. It's like under, but there's just no way. Padres all of a sudden they've been going over. And yesterday Mazur, he's just not ready. We said it. And the Mariners actually got the job done. Julio Rodriguez, a guy that's just been kind of MIA. He's been finally heating up a little bit. Cal Raleigh went deep. I think he had a couple homers, but the runs came early for them. Yeah, and this is a pitcher, and Miller's just when he's at home, we'll get to a couple guys here coming up. He's been excellent on the road. You just fade him. So I think a Padres team total might be a solid look in this one, or even the full game over. Because King's a tough guy too. Has been great at home, and his starts have just been unreal. It seems like he gets either kind of tattooed or he looks unbelievable. He'll go 7 innings, and only give up 3 or 4 hits. So I think it's kind of a bounce back spot here for the Padres. So yeah, Padres and over in that one. I didn't have anything. What was that other game you mentioned?
Cubs and Orioles with Imanaga and Burns.
I get it. I mean, this is moved. There's still some 8.5s out there. It's just there's only one under I really like. Maybe another one later on because a lot of good weather, a lot of wind blowing out. I mean, we saw it. This game yesterday went over. We talked about that Red Sox game. I think that could see some runs. Maybe nothing like yesterday, but Imanaga, I don't know if he's going to have a great start. Orioles, I always love him against lefties. And there's some good numbers. Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson. I haven't made a play on them, but they have good numbers off Burns. And like I said, this moved from 8.5 to 9. There's still some 8.5. So this is one that's sneaky over again. I mean, that short park with these two pitchers. I know if they're on, you think this is an under, but I think it's just kind of a different situation here today. And that game's early here at 6:35.
All right, Yankees and Rays next up. We've got Tampa Bay and New York, Stroman and Eflin, the pitching matchup. Rays minus 120, home favorites, 8 the total here in this game. By the way, 2-0 best bet sweep for both of us yesterday on the show. Matt Emack had the Giants team total over 3.5. A thrilling winner there with that one in extra innings over the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Great to cash those when it goes like that with that drama at the end, but it gets there. And I had the Rays, of course, as my best bet. They get the job done against the Yankees 5-3 yesterday. I'm going right back to them today. I mean, the Yankees are just fade city for me right now until I see this offense start to hit again, until I start to see some of these pitchers that have hit the shits of late start to get back on track. And Stroman's not been great. The last month he got lit up by Boston. He got crushed by Cincinnati. 5 runs in 5 innings his last start. Gave up 3 home runs to the Reds just 6 days ago. No, look, Eflin hasn't been anything special either. He got crushed by Kansas City in his last start, but it's the same old thing with Eflin. Majority of his bad performances have been on the road. Been much, much better at Tropicana Field, just like last year. He's definitely been a much better pitcher at the Trop ever since he's been a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. 2.43 ERA, 3-1 record for him pitching at the Trop this year. And you compare that to a 5-something ERA on the road. So, but at home he's been solid, and the Yankees aren't hitting right now. So give me Tampa first 5 full game run line, Tampa Bay first 5 full game money line split. Run it back, just like yesterday for me. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I had him too. I thought that was a great bet, and I'd be right back on him here. Biggest key, Eflin on the road. Preach that last start. And I think I had the team total, but I might have had the first 5 and I lost only because the Rays scored a ton of runs. That game was 10-8, I believe, in that one. But yeah, he just coughs it up. It's kind of just like he went to Pittsburgh. He comes back home. And it seems like he's going to give up 2 or less in the start. He's going to go 6 strong. So not only the Rays, but I took this under in this game. I think this is the one under that I really, really liked. Kind of a prime position. Eflin back here at home. And Stroman kind of off a start too. When his last start was the Brewers, was it?
The Reds.
Cincy, where he gave up 5. Yeah, 3 bombs. And he hasn't looked sharp, but I think he can give some decent innings. But like I said, I like the Rays as well. So kind of like a double dip for me here. Rays and the under.
Rays and under. Yeah, I lean under too. Rays for me, though, for sure. First 5 full game money line, just like yesterday. All right, next up, we've got the Dodgers and the Phillies. Gavin Stone, Christopher Sanchez on the mound. We've got Philadelphia minus 150, home favorites, 9.5 the total here in this game. Here's another one here. I mean, this is unbelievable with this particular card. All these guys that are pitching like shit on the road, but you get them at home and they're a different pitcher. And Christopher Sanchez, the lefty for Philadelphia, is another example. He's been awful on the road. He's been terrible. Well, the road numbers, I mean, 5.54 ERA, but at Citizens Bank here in Philadelphia, 1.35 ERA, lights out, 5-1. Just been outstanding here in his home ballpark. He's off back-to-back shutouts at home. In fact, 1 run over his last 23 innings pitched here in Philadelphia for Christopher Sanchez. So, we'll see if the Dodgers can get it going, but obviously they got absolutely walloped last night by the Philadelphia Phillies 10-1. I'd probably have to lean Philadelphia again here, but I do respect what Gavin Stone has done of late for the Phillies prior to the Arizona start where he struggled and gave up 4 runs, lasted only 3 innings. Before that, he was pitching quite well. 2 runs or less in 3 of the 4 starts before that. He had a complete game shutout as well against the White Sox. Road ERA for him, 2.3, which is actually better than his ERA at Dodger Stadium this year for Gavin Stone. So it feels like it could be an under tonight. After a huge, high-scoring affair last night, it actually sets up where you'd think both pitchers, based on their numbers, could pitch well tonight. Scary with these lineups and what they're capable of, but pitching-wise, I probably could make a case for the under. I'm not going to bet it, but I would lean that way. What do you think here, C-Mac? Dodgers, Phillies?
Yeah, this is another one, though. Everything else kind of screams, other than these pitchers, and it bounced back, 90, hot, wind kind of blowing out.
Yep. That's the
and
issue.
These 2 lineups, which is, and the Phillies just smashed yesterday. Usually after that, I think the Dodgers, we'll see. Can they get runs here off Sanchez? I don't know. And we saw Ranger Suarez getting hit. And then I backed him thinking he'd be better. He got cracked again. Is this a game where Sanchez will be better? I think he will at home. But he's just like Suarez. We're pitching so well. It was like we knew some regression was going to come. You're coming down the pipe. So a tough one for me. I think the Phillies a little bit are the side in this one. Gavin Stone has just been – if his numbers were a little worse on the road, I kind of look at a Phillies team total, and they really haven't seen him at all, this Phillies lineup. Like a team total with them, first 5 over 2.5. It's plus 110, right around there. So that was a look for me, but I haven't moved on it.
We got the Rockies and Reds next up here. Freeland and Montas, the pitching matchup. Cincy minus 190, home favorites, 9.5 being the total in this one. Cincinnati's taking care of business here the last 2 games against the Rockies. Montas on the mound for them tonight. He's been, average, I guess you could say. 4.19 ERA, 4.14 ERA at home. We'll see how he fares here. Kyle Freeland, the lefty for the Rockies. We'll see how he's able to perform in this one. But if you look at Freeland, he pitched in April. He just got back into the rotation. Well, since he's been back, he's given up just 4 runs over 19.2 innings. Like, he's pitched pretty well, but can he carry that over? Oddly enough, he faced Cincinnati twice, but it was a couple of years ago. Shut him down both times. So, I liked Cincy in the spot last night, minus the 1 run line. Same thing with the first game. This one, not as much. I'm not a big fan of Montas to want to lay this kind of price with him and the Reds in this spot. It's a pass for me. Do you have anything here, Connor? Colorado, Cincy?
This is a pass, but this was a circle for me leaning with the Rockies. I wanted nothing to do with them the first 2 games as well. We talked about it yesterday, just on the road. But there's some good numbers here off Montas, and he's had a stretch here of like 4 good starts, pretty good starts. And I just know him too well. He's due to give up some runs. So I thought there was a little value here with the Rockies' first 5. It's just like, God, it's just nothing like they are at home scoring runs. But a guy to look at here, which I do like his RBI prop, 4 for 6 off Montas. Ryan McMahon in the 3-hole. I think that's a pretty good look. And I lean Rockies first 5.
All right, we got Nationals and Mets. Patrick Corbin, Luis Severino. Mets minus 190, home favorites. 9.5 the total in this game. Now, this is an over I do like here with these two teams here. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Corbin, as we all know. And he's been, he's lost his last 3 starts. He's given up 10 runs in his last 18 innings. Walks have been an issue. Hasn't been as bad as he's been at times in the past, but he's also been absolutely destroyed by the New York Mets. You look at earlier this year in June, they got 6 runs, 7 hits against him. Last year, 8 runs allowed by Corbin against this Mets team. So this Mets lineup has owned Patrick Corbin, and I worry about that again here. And I'm not a big Severino fan. He's kind of a bet against guy for me right now. 3 of his last 4 starts, he's given up 4 runs or more. He got walloped by Pittsburgh in his last outing. 7 runs. 9 hits, 6 innings, 3 homers allowed. And oh yeah, this is another venue where it's hot and sticky and muggy at Citi Field. It's wind blowing out at Citi Field. Not good when you see a guy giving up 3 home runs in his last start with the wind blowing out like it is here for Severino. So pretty clear choice for me to go over the total. And neither bullpen is one we trust to shut you down either. What do you think here, C-Mac? Nats, Mets.
Yeah, Mets just own Corbin. I mean, Alonso, huge numbers. Lindor even has good numbers as well. You could look at them. This was the look for me. If he's in there, the first 5, it is a 3.5 team total, but it's plus 125. I think they could get there. Yeah, wind just blowing dead out. I think the Nats could score some runs as well. So I lean over. This is 9.5, right, everywhere?
It's a huge move. This opened 8.5 with juice overnight. It went to 9. It's 9.5, and now 9.5 is juiced everywhere.
Yeah, the 9.5's even juiced. Yeah, I just think there's runs. I get it. I don't mind that Mets team total.
No, I like Mets team. Mets team total makes sense, which is at the it's up to 5.5, but I think it could still get there. Full game over. I think even at 9.5, it's a good bet. I got 9. I think even 9.5, though, it's a good bet on it. All right, next up, Oakland, Boston. You know what a good bet was over for me with these two teams last night? Easy with the 12-9. It ended last night. I mean, Estes got absolutely crushed like we kind of thought he would, and Bale really wasn't that much better. Now they meet up again here. We've got Sears and Pivetta, the matchup. Boston minus 195, home favorites. 10 rather, right on the nose. 10 the total here tonight with these two teams. JP Sears, last 2 starts, pretty solid. He shut out the Angels, 3 runs, 6 innings against Arizona. We'll see if the lefty for Oakland can continue to pitch well here in this game. You look at his numbers. Again, we've got a little, not so much of a home road split here. 4.74 ERA, slightly worse on the road than at home. We'll see how he fares here tonight against Boston. Nick Pivetta, meanwhile, for the Red Sox. Here's another reverse home road split going on for Nick Pivetta, where he's actually been, very good on the road, 2.97 ERA, but here at Fenway Park, 5.52 ERA for Nick Pivetta coming into this outing. So he's been worse on the road. I'm telling you what, Oakland is not, I think taking a shot with the plus money is not the worst thing you can do here. I mean, I think Sears can be either Sears. That has been bashed at home. Oakland was still able to score 9 runs, even though they lost to the Boston team last night. I would lean over again. I don't like it nearly as much as last night, but I think over's still in play here. But I think taking a shot with Oakland first 5 at the very least, money line, or plus a half run first 5 if you want to be safer, you can do that. I definitely don't think that in his home numbers, Fenway should minus 200 right now in matchup like this. What do you think here, C-Mac, with the A's and the Red Sox?
Yeah, and it really hasn't moved. I mean, it's moved slightly in that one. Wind's just blowing out. It's tough to take an under in this one, but I could see it. The A's scored so many runs, yesterday, even in the loss. Them on the road have been struggle to get runs. But I think there's value with them first 5. And another issue I have a little bit is Sears was just dominant. Angels were kind of MIA for that past week and that series because I had them that game. I thought they could get to Sears with a few runs, and they didn't. Sears had a start here in Boston last year. He went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned. So I think there is a shot with Oakland. It's ugly. It ain't pretty. But first 5 of them, I think it's not a bad look.
I agree with that. All right, Kansas City, St. Louis. This is the second game of a day-night doubleheader with them. Michael Waka Flocka Flame for Kansas City. Gordon Graceffo here for St. Louis. We've got the Cardinals here, slight home favorites, minus 120, 8.5 the total. Believe last I checked, Kansas City was leading in the first game of the doubleheader. I think they were up 6-3, and they're probably going to win that game. Normally, when it's a day-night doubleheader, I like betting on in the second game the team that lost the first game. So that would point you towards St. Louis. But Graceffo, I'm not really sold on him. His numbers are, getting this spot start. His numbers aren't great. And Michael Waka has been in very good form for Kansas City, and he's facing his old team. So I think he's going to want to pitch well here for the Royals. I actually lean Royals. I would have liked it more, though, if they lost the first game of the doubleheader. But definitely not laying it with St. Louis here. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, no, with doubleheader with Graceffo, I don't know what we get. Been solid in the minors, had a few bad blowups, but I don't know enough about him. Waka has been solid even on the road. I wanted to double check. What's his ERA on the road?
It's one of those guys where
solid both, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. He doesn't have much of a change. 3.49 home, 3.94 road. Not a big difference.
Yep.
Not
and excellent lately. I think there's a shot there. I'm not a huge doubleheader unless I love something. And we'll get to the next one. I don't have anything there. I like Fetty here in this first game.
I think I probably will bite for a couple of bucks on Kansas City. I just feel like it's a good price and a good matchup for Waka. I would have just liked it more because I worry, you win the first game, you're going to rest some guys maybe in the second game, but I would still lean Royals there in that one for sure. All right, we go next up to Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. Martin Perez, Tobias Myers, the pitching matchup here with the Bucks and the Brew Crew. We've got Milwaukee minus 165 home favorites, 8.5 the total here in this game. I look at this matchup here with these two teams. There's another one where I think we could see some runs scored here tonight between the Pirates and the Brewers. I'm not overly trustworthy of what we're going to see necessarily here from Martin Perez. When you look at the situation involving him, it's not someone I'm fully trusting to shut the door here for this Pirates team. 4.85 ERA this season. That's not what you want to see. He's also struggled against Milwaukee in his career. He's had some really tough results against the Brewers. We'll see how he fares. Meanwhile, you got the youngster Tobias Myers. He's only a rookie. He had a nice start to his season, but boy, he's really stumbled lately. He's given up 7 runs in his last 12 innings in his last 2 starts. He's basically been in trouble the majority of his outings. That's not necessarily something you want to see. So I look at this here, and I think both pitchers a little bit vulnerable in this matchup. So for me, clear choice to look over 8.5 here with Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I get it. Myers, too. He wasn't awful his first time pitching in Coors, but he gave up 4. But he's been good. I think he bounced back here at home. That was my lone loss. Baseball has been excellent yesterday, but the Brewers just 2 runs and nothing else. I think they got it in the third. And I don't really trust him against lefties, but you talked about it. He got drilled too, but bad lefties or okay lefties, they can. And look, they get 9 off him back in May, that start for Perez. And I think they get some today. So Brewers here, Brewers team total is what I like. Shout out to our guy, Schnizzle.
Yes.
Scott
Good
Nagy.
to see him.
What up,
yeah. Scott Nagy, Ixnizzle, everyone in the chat, 87 live viewers. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. So Connor liking the Brewers and the Brewers team total over. I like the full game over there with Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. All right, Miami, Houston. Brian Hoying for the Marlins. Framber Valdez, the lefty, for the Houston Astros. We've got Houston minus 230 home favorites, 8 the total here in this matchup. Hoying made a spot start. Now he's not going to pitch a lot. Maybe you get 2-3 innings out of him, and then he turns it over to a bullpen day for the Marlins. But he pitched solid, 1 run, 3 innings against the White Sox in his 1 spot start this year. We'll see how he fares after that, but it's probably going to be pitcher by committee after that for the Marlins here in this game tonight. Meanwhile, you've got Framber Valdez here for the Houston Astros. He labored quite a bit against Toronto. and struggled as well against the Mets. So his last two starts haven't been great. 9 runs, 17 hits in his last 10.2 innings. It's definitely not something you want to see. He's walked a lot of pitchers too, or walked a lot of batters, I should say, too. I mean, he just hasn't been sharp. I mean, the guy has 12 walks, 12 in his last 4 starts, 12 walks over his last 23 innings. It's definitely not good control or command at all from Framber Valdez lately for the Houston Astros. So which Framber Valdez do we get tonight? You do have a Marlins team that against lefties are only hitting 219 in their last 10 games. So it's one of those deals where Valdez's form has kind of dipped a little bit. And can Miami take advantage of it? Probably ends up being the bigger question. We know the Astros lineup has been in very good form for a large portion of time now during this renaissance they've had the last month. They've gotten themselves right back into the AL West race for the most part. So it's just a really tough one for me. Maybe you could get there with an over just because, Framber Valdez is strong. I worry the Marlins, though, could be one of those teams that let him off the hook. You know what I mean? When you talk about a guy that's been struggling a bit, we know this Marlins team, it's, they have had the odd start game here in their last 10 where they've scored 6 and 7, but for the most part, it's pretty consistently been 4 runs or less from this offense and from this lineup. So as much as the form hasn't been great from Valdez here, these last 2 starts and the walks have been a big problem, or is Miami going to be the kind of team that's going to make him pay for it? That's still the big question. I would lean Marlins, though, in the over. I would lean both ways if I had to. What do you think here, C-Mac, Miami, Houston?
I don't want anything. Yesterday I just left it off the card. One of the last things we talked about was that under in that game. Marlins got a couple there early. Nothing else. We'll see if they get rid of Chisholm, too, here. You really need him, De La Cruz, Bell. Burger King had a big 3-run bomb every once in a while, but the offense just struggles. Valdez, he's been better, but the guy, for him to just work out of jams, I mean, the walks with him is just wild. But he gets it. He'll get that ground ball or double play or strikeout. So, yeah, this was nothing for me. Big price, maybe the Astros team total. Brian Hoeing, he's only going to go 2 or 3, I think. I mean, he's really got to pitch well, I think, to go 5 or 6. So, in the end, I had to be off.
Texas Rangers, LA Angels. We've got Lorenzen and Canning, the pitching matchup. Texas minus 120 to minus 130. Road favorites, 9 being the total here in this game. Michael Lorenzen, pretty good start last time. Shut out Tampa Bay, 5 innings. He did get roughed up by Baltimore. Before that, 5 runs. Holy shit. Excuse me. 5 runs, 5 innings. Before that for him against Baltimore. We'll see how he fares here in this one. I'm not a big Canning fan. You guys know that. He is not someone I'm interested in backing. He's given up 9 runs in his last 10.1 innings, 4 walks, 2 home runs. He's given up a home run in 5 straight starts. So this is definitely a night to look at some Texas home run props. Seager, take a look at some home run props for Texas, because definitely it feels like they might hit a bomb off Canning, because keeping the ball in the ballpark has been a problem for him. You look at Texas's lineup lately, it's heating up during this 5-game win streak, especially the last 3 games. They've scored 13, 9, and 5 runs in the last 3 games. The Angels have managed to score 4 runs in each of the first 2 games of this series. So seeing this total at 9, I think it can get up and over that number. Certainly Canning is one where I'm usually looking at the other side or the over in his starts, and it's probably what I would do here, Texas in the over for me if I get involved. What do you think here, C-Mac, Rangers, Angels?
Yeah, that game stayed just under yesterday. This is nice weather here in LA, not blowing out crazy. I think the ball flies, and then we're starting to see a few 9.5s. Get the 9, because I do like the over in this one. I think Canning is going to get hit pretty hard here. Rangers need to win some games right now, especially going into the break, maybe at least 500. Lorenzen's been all right, and he's been all right on the road. Going back through his starts just today, he's gotten hit hard on the road. And that's usually where he coughs it up. You just mentioned that start with Baltimore where he gave it up. Like, I'd rather have both teams, because I think they both could get hit. And you hit on it. Garcia, there's some really good numbers off these guys. Oh, there was one more in that Brewers, like William Contreras. I'll be on his RBI prop and his home run. But yeah, Seager, you mentioned is heating up, and a few other guys. But yeah, I like this over. I'm on it.
All right, we've got Atlanta and Arizona next up here. Charlie Morton, Slade Cacconi here for Arizona. We've got the Braves it's pretty much even money now, minus 110, 9 the total, shaded to the under here in this game. We saw Atlanta take the first two games of this series, 5-4 and 6-2 for the Braves. They're heating up too. They've won 4 in a row. We'll see. They took 2 or 3 from a very good Philadelphia team over the weekend. So the Braves are starting to get it rolling right now, 51 and 39. That being said, Morton on the road. Do I want to trust him? He's coming off a bad start against San Francisco. Against the Yankees, he got hit around pretty well. He has a 4.28 ERA on the road. Not a huge jump from his overall ERA, but he's been slightly worse away from Atlanta than he's been at home. A lot of money on Arizona in trying to avoid a sweep. I could see it. Problem is, I just wish with Cacconi he has better numbers, especially at home. I mean, at home, he's just been dreadful at times, just been absolutely crushed. His home ERA is over 11, if you can believe it, this season. So that's not what I want to see. So as much as I want to fade Morton, I don't trust it. It would probably be a lean to Arizona, but probably the over again. I'd have to lean that way because I think Arizona can hit Morton a bit, and at the same time, Cacconi's just one of those pitchers right now, and you see with the runs he's been giving up, especially like I said here at home. It's hard not to look at the over in those starts. I mean, when you look at the home results here for Cacconi, in his there was a 9-4 game at home with him pitching at Chase Field that went over the total 8-3. 6-2, 10-2. I mean, we've had a lot of high scoring games when he pitches at home. So probably be a lean to the over here, Atlanta, Arizona. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, I think this is a game that can get over as well, especially with the 9. You know me. I like to be on as 9s are great. Even 8.5s I like better, but because the push, even a game like this, he's just been awful. Slade, man, I don't know how much longer he could be in this rotation. The home numbers are bad. D-backs have some good numbers off Morton. He's just classic Charlie Morton. I think he gives up some runs tonight. Going back to that, that's why I like the over full game in that Rangers-Angels. The Pens are bad. These two teams not great. Braves kind of been up and down. I know early on they were better, but I don't trust the D-backs. And they cost me in the first game. 3-1, 2 outs in the ninth. There was a bomb. So, they're trying not to get swept. They don't play tomorrow, right? This is the end of the series.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I don't think they play tomorrow, no.
Yeah, I think we could see some runs. Maybe they win. In the end, just over, nothing for me. I don't know if I get there, though.
Oh, no, sorry. They do play one more tomorrow. A night game,
do they?
Too. Wow.
4-game set? Okay.
Series and a night game, too. 9:40 Eastern in Arizona.
Okay, I'm off.
Pacific tomorrow night. So very interested to see how that goes. But like I said, interesting to see how it goes. Okay, next up, as we continue along, final game here, Blue Jays and Giants. San Francisco, minus 155, home favorites, 7, the total here in this game. Bassett and Webb, the pitching matchup here in this one. If you look at Chris Bassett, actually he's been pitching really well. He kind of ran into some trouble against Houston in his last start, but before that, the month of June, he gave up 2 runs or less in 4 straight starts. Logan Webb and how consistent he is for the most part. Pretty much a guy that's going to give up 2 runs, 3 runs, keep you in the game, and he's been tremendous for his whole career with the San Francisco Giants at home here at in this ballpark in the Bay Area. 2.13 ERA for him at home this season. He's just been consistently really good at home during the course of his career pitching in San Francisco. So this definitely feels like an under waiting to happen here with the Blue Jays and the Giants. And from a side perspective, I don't want the Blue Jays right now, not in their current state. Another heartbreaking, gut-wrenching, excruciating loss for them last night, wasting a great performance from Yusei Kikuchi. So San Francisco lean that way and the under as well. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, maybe go first 5 because this was
but those are out of it. Yeah, for Toronto.
Yeah, at least I know it's only 3.5, but yeah, you don't want the Pens, and that's what happened last night. Both 2 bad bullpens and gave up the runs. I know it's a 3.5, but it's there for a reason. Or if you went full gain and got the 7.5, that's a lot better because even the 7 now is juiced to the over. I don't know. I love Webb at home, and there's just no way the Blue Jays can be back. This price though, I thought it's perfect. Minus 150, 160 for the Giants. I can't take them there. I think they could get to Bassett, but he's been pretty good, and I think he gives a good outing. So I just didn't want to move on a 3.5 in this game, but I lean under as well.
Right, lean into the under as well for CMAC with this one. That's it. There's the MLB card right there. Hope
Beautiful.
Everyone enjoyed the breakdown. Over 100 viewers. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. It's one of those weeks where, look, it's a little busy for me. So what I'm going to do is there's still going to be shows tomorrow, but Connor Mack will rejoin me next week. I'm going to do pre-recorded shows tomorrow and Friday. I'll just record them early in the day because I've got some errands to run and people to visit with tomorrow and Friday for that matter. So we'll do pre-recorded shows the next 2 days, and then we'll come back with a live show at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific next Monday. And I know it'll be All-Star break, but we'll do a little home run derby, and we'll do some football. We'll still be on Monday, and we'll do a little football as well. We'll get into some NFL, college football previews just briefly, overlook that kind of thing. We'll do that for Monday on the show. So we'll be back Monday for sure. Might take a couple days off next week too because it's the All-Star break, but we will definitely have a show on Monday. We'll do a home run derby, All-Star game talk, and we'll do some football as well. So Monday will be the next live show, but I will have some pre-recorded Bet with Bobano shows for the next 2 days. All right, best bets. CMAC, what do you got for us for best bet tonight?
Wow, well, I'm on them for the game, but give me that Yankees Rays under 8. I think it's minus 105, but under. I think we get no runs.
All right, there we go. Under with the Yankees and the Rays, under 8 for CMAC with his best bet for this Wednesday slate. I'm going to go to that Nationals Mets over 9.5 minus 115 with Corbin and with Severino on the mound. I think it gets up and over the total. I think we see a lot of runs there in that one. So let's go Washington Nationals, New York Mets over 9.5 minus 115 for my best bet here for this Wednesday MLB card. All right, that is a wrap. We hope everyone enjoyed the show. Shout out to everyone in the chat and everyone tuning in. Hit the like button. We appreciate it very much. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the games.
Subscribe. Real quick, subscribe to the channel. Hit us up. We're both running high. I know it's a little bleak, but football will get going. Hit us up. Hit up our Dub Clubs. Or just DM us. Baseball's here. And stay hot. Yeah, stay hot, man.
We do indeed, and you're right. Baseball, it's been good to us here, especially in the month of July. You're on a good run in baseball, so am I. So let's try to keep it going for sure. And a reminder, again, we'll have shows tomorrow and Friday, but they'll be pre-recorded. And then next live show will be Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So looking forward to that. So shout out to everyone. Oh, quickly on the Copa America semifinal tonight, that under is way too high of a price, but it's probably a lower scoring, cagey match with Uruguay and Colombia tonight in the semifinal. But it's just juiced very, very heavily. I would take a shot with the draw with Uruguay and Colombia at the plus money. See that match can get past 90 minutes, going to penalty kicks. I think it's got a good chance to. Very, very little between those two teams, Uruguay and Colombia. So I could see it going past the 90 minutes. So I think the draw might be worth a look there with that match tonight in the soccer with Copa America. All right, great stuff. Again, thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your Wednesday night. Bet like Tony Soprano. Bet with Bobano. We'll see you again tomorrow. Pre-recorded edition of Bet with Bobano.